Okay, so it's gonna be the 1v1 then. Alright, let's do the 1v1. And in that case, I'm gonna be cautioning you that you should be probably hitting the how's it called, the bathroom and such. It's gonna be a longer one. It's gonna be a bit longer game. So if you don't want to go in the middle somewhere, I recommend getting all the refreshments that you can right now. And then we're gonna be starting with the last game of today's stream. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna be starting with the last game of today's stream. It's gonna be chosen basically halfway by you. 1v1 between eRo and Brickhead. It has been played on 7th December 2017, so basically like about 4 months ago, something along those lines. And it's gonna be eRo as ISIS, and Brickhead is gonna be playing Poseidon. And it's on Ghost Lake, which is actually a map that could be considered useful for both, depending how it spawns. Depending how it spawns, of course. So let's start and discover that right off the bat. We don't have an observer, so we won't be having the goodies from the Ubli patch 2.0. Unfortunately, but yeah, we have cast so many games today without that, and we were quite fine in that regard. And well, he's gonna be having the Aurochs right close by, which is definitely nice help for him. Even a few extra berries in the left side, and otherwise, much more importantly, this is all about the gold. And it's gonna be a double gold spawn, so that's a bit of a victory for the ISIS, which is of course gonna be having quite a nice advantage through that in his gameplay overall. And her gameplay, and he's already getting so many goats, of course, through the Kataskopos, and he's gonna be getting even more of them as time goes, I'm thinking, because this is exactly the advantage that Poseidon can be getting any kind of Greek, as he's even right now gonna be discovering the Caribous, and unfortunately, oh well, he's gonna be scavenging them by the lure. Oh, that's also kind of partly the reason why you don't cast the lure behind the TC. That's usually not a good idea, because you are increasing the chance exactly of that, because there's some kind of like minimal effect. And if you can cast it somewhere front, usually, in my opinion, this is probably not confirmed by anybody or anything, my opinion is that it's best to cast it next to Granary. I'm thinking it's the best, because you are having the best chance of not scavenging something that is close by in there, in the darkness, and not really screwing up your approach with the villages, or rather going somewhere else. You can see this is gonna be probably already second Caribou being stolen. No, not yet, but it's definitely possible. But at any rate, I'm thinking that lure is a god power that is something in a bit of a science where to cast it. And it's a science that hasn't been really explored all that much. And I'm thinking there is room for optimization by expert players. If they wanted to dive into it, they could be definitely helping develop the Poseidon play a bit more. I'm thinking this is really a bit of an opportunity for everybody. And I'm gonna be switching into eRo to have a look on his part of the map. So yeah, his gold mines are gonna be, of course, quite fine. This one is potentially raidable from the front, but by Hippicons probably not that much. Probably not that much in there, as this is very close by to the TC especially. This is a gold that spawns very nicely in there, and I'm always kinda looking at this. Why are actually the players, the Egyptians, placing the mining camp closer to the TC? It just doesn't make any sense, and I see this like there has to be a reason behind it. So maybe somebody in the chat will be able to say this, but it doesn't make any sense at all. Because if you are under attack here, what happens is that you risk you are running the risk of the Hippicons being from here and there, and basically closing the villages in and not being able to escape at all. Whereas if you place the mining camp behind and you see the horses coming, then you are having absolutely free way to actually come to the TC. I think this is actually blocking escape routes if you are placing mining camp like this, especially in a position where you are so close to the town center. So yeah, well, that was just a bit of a wild thinking by me to spend the time at the start of the game, as we are looking, of course, at pretty much the same spawn for eRo with the Aurochs. He's gonna be finishing with them, having some berries in the front, and he has even discovered some gold already on both sides, and even the elks, which are pretty much the same as for eRo. So let's just switch over the Fog of War so that we see everything. And that everything is gonna be this. So is there something unusual? I'm looking at the gold mine. So far they seem to be, even though there's the second gold mine in the base, which is helpful for the Egyptian. Otherwise the golds are not exactly huge for him. I'm thinking this is like half advantage for the ISIS. But otherwise, the secondary gold mines being that far away and into the front, that's an advantage for the Raider, for the Poseidon. And if, of course, Brickhead plays this properly, he could be denying mid-goals that might be attempted somewhere here. I'm thinking this is closer, so... And with the TCB in there, I'm really thinking eRo is gonna be leaning towards the right. Just makes plenty of sense, of course. But yeah, having the tree line in there this way, it's gonna be high risk. It's gonna be very high risk, and I wouldn't be surprised if eRo was actually forced into Ancestors to even place the mid-goal. Or if he doesn't want to risk that, maybe even just place it inside the base. He can survive quite a bit longer because of the secondary gold, so... Yeah, he does have options. He definitely does have options. So let's see what he's taking and what his opponent is gonna be doing, as well as Brickhead is already switching to the left into some secondary Caribous next to the front TC. And for his gold, it's... looking at it, it's maybe a bit worse for him actually than for eRo, as he's already right now coming through Hermes at 423. Definitely decent advance time for him, as there is a relic for a Vegette Eye, that's for better myth units. Cost, of course, and the gold mines for him are not exactly huge. This is the closest one to him. It's not really that bad, that far away, but considering that this one, which is the one that he will be quite a lot more interested in quite sooner, is gonna be probably quite close by to the battlefield. It's gonna be tricky for him, so I'm expecting a bit of a problem for him here, and that's definitely opening for eRo. How to abuse his opponent if he can. He's right now gonna be abused himself. He did have a bit of a warning because of the obelisk, of course, of the Zeus and the Centaur were already coming forward. And are we gonna be seeing a few more? Maybe. Maybe, as Brickhead is already having... Well, not really enough favor. He's having just 7. But that means that he should be having... Or not. No, sorry. I'm right now halfway thinking... in basically Zeus intentions. In Zeus he would be having enough favor for, of course, the second one, but right now he isn't, which of course means that there's gonna be a bit of more opportunity for eRo to stabilize himself. Against Zeus it could have been a bit harder, but Brickhead as a Poseidon will be having quite a good option, as he's getting rid of the line of sight for the opponent so that he doesn't see what he's gonna be doing and where. It could be quite a good opportunity for all the Hippicons, stronger Hippicons of course, for the Poseidon to be quite annoying once the TC, or rather TC the Migdol, is gonna be attempted to be built. So there we go, and it's gonna be settlement of course being built for Brickhead and for his opponent as well, so everybody going for the same deal. And you can see right now how fast actually the TC is coming up for eRo than for Brickhead. That's how powerful actually the empowerment is. And basically that's the reason why, if you are trying to deny a TC or even a Migdol, with Migdol is even more important, you need to single out the Pharaoh, because as soon as you kill the Pharaoh, then the building kinda almost stops. It's really kinda sad actually how fast it stops if you kill the Pharaoh. So if you are having like quarter or half health of the building being up, you definitely will be doing a better job killing the Pharaoh rather than the villages. So of course that is something that players like we are having here, Brickhead and eRo, definitely know. And what else are we gonna be commenting on in the early game? Well, so far we have already seen that the lure is still gonna standing. What is gonna be stealing? Maybe even this Caribou still. Maybe even this. I'm kinda confused why he still hasn't moved there. Because he still hasn't finished. Okay. And he lost... Oh man. He lost the Sphinx in there, but unfortunately it cost him one of the villages. So it was not really successful raiding, to be honest, because the Sphinx is kinda tactical unit. You don't really want to lose it because you want to be... You want for it to be a constant threat, something that eRo, or rather something that the enemy has to keep in mind. And much more importantly, this is something that is doubly true against a Greek, because Greek is having, of course, limited number of mythic, or rather of heroes, and if he has to keep one of them right next to, I don't know, Hunt or something like that, then you're of course gonna be kind of wide open. Alright, with opportunities and possibilities somewhere else, because you don't need to worry about much of a raiding with those heroes, which is of course something that the Greeks do quite often. So here we go, medium cavalry already researched for Brickhead, so you can see 7.5 minutes, he's definitely going full on into Hippicons very soon. So right now we'll drop in second stable, and already having all the Q, it's gonna be third one. Yes, what kind of upgrades is he having? Hendax and Pickaxe, nice, exactly as it should be, as he's having 9 villages on the gold, and that should be fairly enough at this point. And how's it looking for eRo? Should be already kind of thinking about the advance. He is at over 2 TC, so he's gonna be advancing about 9 minutes. Yeah, that seems more or less reasonable, between 9 and 10 minutes for a 2TC faster heroic, so let's see how it's gonna be working for him. And I'm especially curious where the second, or rather where the Migdol is gonna be coming. He more or less has two options. This is interesting relic. Definitely important that it didn't come for the Egyptian, the cheaper siege units. That's definitely very important in there. So I'm thinking that at this point, if this is gonna be right now continuing, eRo will be forced into defensive Migdol about here, I'm thinking, to protect this gold mine. Even though it's kinda out, it's also protecting the way inside the base. And right now he's gonna be switching to the bottom, because of course this is gonna be a whole lot more efficient for gathering than the next one, as there was just a few villages, and here are a whole lot more. So prosperity, Neft is coming in, and it's gonna be advanced about 9, what, 30, something like that. So Hippicons are coming forward, so definitely nicely played by Brickhead. And exactly what you should be doing as an Egyptian, or rather, against an Egyptian as a Greek. You just need to produce as many Hippicons as possible. For the reason that medium Hippicons can actually fight against the camels and chariot archers absolutely fine. And even kind of partly against the spearmen, even though it's not advisable, they can hold their own because they are a very strong unit. You can see, even though the heck armor at 10% is not huge, the 165 hit points, and especially combined with the 11 attack, they are very strong and can definitely battle against the heroic age units of the opponent, and they are quite invaluable in trying to deny the Migdol. So let's see, this is gonna be important part of the game. As priests are already waiting, so where is the Migdol coming? Yeah, even more defensive than I was thinking. Even more defensive there. And he's gonna be trying, of course, to come forward. So is he gonna be forcing the ancestors? Probably not. This is very nicely played right now by eRo, because he's gonna defend in the Pharaoh. You can see exactly what I said about it a bit before. If he was having the Pharaoh open, you can see right now he's having problems even getting one Hippicon in there. But that's already slowing it down so significantly. And with the attack of all the horses, this is so nicely done. Nicely done by both players, those little details. But of course they were able to finish the Migdol, but they are gonna be repairing fast enough or not? That's the question here, because of course the Scorpion men are direct countering to all of those Hippicons, but it seems like that Brickhead just didn't have the numbers enough in there, and eRo was able to keep it alive, but that was just so. The game could have been kinda overish very soon if this didn't happen, or rather if the Migdol was killed so soon after it being made. That would have been absolutely disastrous for eRo. It would have been just basically 400 gold wasted. Even though he does have more, it still would have slowed him down so significantly. And it was kinda interesting how actually eRo gauged the situation and didn't even cast the ancestors. Because of course ancestors are a direct response to a situation getting out of hand and you thinking that you're not gonna be able to somehow secure the Migdol, but he didn't really falter at all. And eRo did gauge it correctly, and Brickhead unfortunately wasn't able to succeed. So right now the problems are gonna be starting, because once the Migdol is up without all that much of a delay, it was a delay of maybe a few seconds, nothing really that major in the end. Well, chariots are gonna be coming everywhere, and of course it seems like that even though Brickhead is already at the 30C, he did finish with that before the situation got problematic. Oh, this might be a bit of a problem if he discovers this fast enough right now, eRo, and he probably will. So this village is probably gonna die. This one is just gonna be watching there, and probably gonna be the one next to try to finish the wall in a bit later. Yes, shot into the back, that's how we like it. The 30C is gonna be captured by eRo also, but since he's having the Scorpion man guarding it, I don't exactly expect that Brickhead will be able to stop that, as those guys are not to be underestimated. They are one of the best mythical units, especially in Heroic Age, because they are really direct counters to exactly the Hippicons. And that's what the Egyptian needs. So if you are playing ISIS, or yeah, pretty much ISIS, because as Ra, you don't really have Neftis, of course. Potentially you are having Neftis set, but much more relevant for ISIS. You do want to make them, as they do help you quite immensely in the fight. And much more importantly, if you can micro them properly, because you just basically can take them back, heal them to have full health with a few priests, and they are really powerful and unit not to be underestimated, because I've even noticed some notion somewhere that it's one of the worst units in the game. Definitely not. Definitely not. Scorpion men are very strong. Very strong indeed. They have their very important uses. Okay, so right now Brickhead is more or less curb stomped. You can exactly see that, because he is having only the horses, and he cannot really do anything with his opponent all that much. Because right now eRo is like closed off. He's right now gonna be basically capturing this gold mine for himself because of this Migdol. and because of the situation being overall quite coming into his favor. And he kind of needs right now this gold, because he's gonna be running out exactly now. And this is another moment where actually Brickhead is having a chance how to win the game. Denying the gold mine, but there is still an advantage of the ancestors. So if he can at least force them into the defensive casting, that's gonna be another small victory for Brickhead along the road to victory, because he's not gonna be stopping this gold. It doesn't seem likely, especially with the ancestors there. It's just not happening. But if he can force them, I'm thinking that right now he's kinda choosing to really fight it. That's actually an interesting decision, because if he didn't, I'm fairly certain he would have to cast the ancestors to actually win the battle. But since he chose to really fight them, which was a very good decision by him, he kinda forced his opponent into unfortunate battle, which was something that Brickhead apparently didn't see all that much. Even though he's right now with Hippolyta killing this Scorpion Man, definitely helping him. There are still a few more, and the armies are just getting so much stronger and bigger, with all of those units being made so fast from the Migdol. And once this Migdol is done, there's not gonna be all that much more opportunity for Brickhead to get it onto the gold yet again, and he will have to think about something else, as he's right now also moving forward onto the gold mine on the right side and also onto the left, which is very nicely played, as eRo was apparently thinking that he might be diversifying, but he's only gonna be mauling this poor villager. Oh, well, she's definitely feisty with 14 hit points. If Brickhead notices this, she's dead. Oh, come on, notice, please, Brickhead. See this? Well, apparently she's gonna be having the better day here, and maybe she's gonna be surviving all around. That's just so sad to see. Sad story. Since there is nothing all that much happening yet on the other side, I'm gonna be staying with this little fight. Oh, come on, be a man! Turn around and slap her around. Well, she's gonna be chasing him all across the map. Maybe he's gonna be getting lucky right next to the TC, but this is definitely something that Brickhead could have solved a whole lot better. Also interesting though is the fact, yeah, right now he's gonna be getting a bit of a help from friends, maybe. We need to be switching somewhere else right now. Yep, they're gonna be ganging up on her exactly on time, as Brickhead is gonna be under attack by eRo on the side, which is a good idea, of course, right now by the blue player, because he does have the advantage and he still does have the ancestors, so he will be having quite a good opportunity if his opponent doesn't have strong enough army, and if he can of course single out Hippolyta and Theseus in this little battle, because right now casting ancestors about here, it's gonna be plenty of economy actually being denied for a Brickhead. Yeah, Hydra's definitely looking curious at them, if there are gonna be a few more of those, as Ahem. It's interesting. I would be, if I were in his shoes at this point, I would be having the ceasefire clicked, but waiting for the ancestors to be cast, and hoping that I can click in between. Actually, I don't want to brag, but I was actually very good at that when I was playing back then. So I did have quite a good hits, but I'm thinking plenty of players back then did have that. That was a really good skill to have to disrupt the Egyptians, but otherwise we mustn't forget that Osiris is coming up for eRo. So eRo is so far having such a comfortable game, to be honest, a comfortable game. If it wasn't for this, it would have been a comfortable game. But overall, once he was able to defend that, the game is going more or less according to what he wants. And even though there was a very nice attempt by Brickhead to basically deny the right gold also the same way as the one on the left side, well, this didn't really work all that much, even though he does have a few units here and there. But does he have enough army right now? I don't exactly think so. But he does have heavy guns, very important upgrade. And otherwise, baseline of upgrades is already there. Even with Lord of Horses and Spirited Charge for him. So he's having so many upgrades on him, whereas, of course, at least the heavy cavalry are already there. With the baseline also for eRo. So eRo is playing very nicely. Very nicely indeed. Our ancestors are finally being cast in there with the Eclipse, and you could have seen there was a lot of difference. A lot of difference. He definitely wasn't hotkey in this. He was having so much difference in that. That was, even if he wasn't clicked, even if he wasn't having the ceasefire clicked, he would have been able to manage to ceasefire that. But since he didn't need to worry about it, I'm kinda guessing, we don't know, maybe he would have been a bit more careful if he knew that ceasefire is at risk. But that's definitely not working as well as he would have hoped, I'm thinking, because the ancestors are already kinda gone. The bronze is definitely paying off quite strongly, as right now Osiris is coming forward, where is... Oh! Okay, I was thinking that actually the ancestors are dead, they were just somewhere else. They were just having a bit of fun with I don't know what. But still, the battle is not going as well as eRo would have hoped. Definitely. It is going much better for Brickhead. And Brickhead could be coming and getting something out of this quite significantly. Because once those ancestors are gone in about 2 seconds, or 10 seconds, sorry, not really 2, he does have quite strong units, but those mummies, oh well, yeah, insta-killing them. Very nicely done, insta-killing the bronzed one rather than the normal one. Not entirely certain if he was microing that, could have been. But that's gonna be for, I don't know whom, to decide, as the Hydra, unfortunately, even though she was having 3 heads, she's already gonna be gone. And we're gonna be waiting for the Pharaoh to emerge onto the battlefield as the version of Son of Osiris. Where is he actually? Ah, there he is. But he's kinda dead, so he should be just, I don't know. Once he actually gets the Migdol up, either he needs to send him into battle or just delete him, so that he can respawn in about a minute, or how long it takes. About a minute, I'm thinking. The full health Pharaoh, and get him fighting. And get him fighting in there. Well, this is not really going anywhere, it seems like. So let's look around the map. What is actually going on, for example, with the economies? Because so far, I'm kind of thinking that eRo might be wanting to somehow secure the gold sooner rather than later, because otherwise the trade is already going very well. So that would be quite a nice support once he runs out of the gold on the right side. But much more importantly, he kind of needs to deny it for his opponent. Because his opponent is going to be running out of this gold fairly soon. Only 2,000 left, and then he only has this one. Or he needs to start with the trade. Because right now this one is almost going to be off, as Son of Osiris has been already invoked. Or has he actually healed the Pharaoh? Right now I'm not entirely certain if we can heal him, but I would guess so. At this point, Son of Osiris of course cannot be healed. Or maybe can. Maybe somebody in the chat can be helping a bit more. Of course. Well, already having Champion Camelry in there. So you can see the upgrades are mounting. Are mounting for eRo, much more than for Brickhead, as Brickhead is having, even the heavy prodroma are good. Bronze, and copper are there. We're gonna be waiting, of course, for the Mythical Age from the Poseidon player. That is still not coming up, and you can see that he's quite heavily strained for the economy, and he's gonna be coming for the towers. Yeah, researching them just about now. It's gonna be just in time. But it's not gonna be doing a whole lot as far as the gold goes. It's gonna be just more for, like, securing the beachhead in there, the forward base, and it could be working, of course, quite fine, as the walls are probably gonna be coming down, because on the balance patch, of course, the repairing is not as easy as it is on the normal game. You can see how many villages he's actually spending there trying to repair it, and even though it's kinda working, well, it's still costing him quite a lot of economical time, as he is trying to secure the gold himself, which is much more valuable for him because it's almost full. He was even able to get the villages in a interesting position in there, through a bit of a trick, to move more of them into an impossible position otherwise. And then the watchtower, of course, is gonna be helping, trying to secure this part of the map and helping him overall. Also secure the trade route overall. But Hippicons are through. Interesting trade route from Brickhead, who is right now choosing to go through here all the way to the left side, which is basically coming fairly close to the battlefield. I was maybe thinking he could have been a better trade from here, all the way to this TC, but he maybe doesn't want to risk it. But yeah, well, he's still going with... he's going with, of course, stables. But eRo is coming with siege works, so they're having kind of similar thoughts. You should be switching the battlefield, coming somewhere else. As of course, all the horses are coming somewhere else from the right side, maybe trying to lure the opponent into the middle, as he somehow needs to get onto Son of Osiris. That's something that he wanted to do. He's having significant issues with that, and that's gonna be a problem from now on, because he, for example, doesn't have Bellerophon like Zeus, which is like one of the best options how to deal with Son of Osiris because of his jumping ability. But switching into, I don't know what he could be doing, like maybe some Peltas even, to get rid of both the chariots and get into the Son of Osiris. It's gonna be really a challenge, really a pretty damn hard challenge for him. But we are looking finally at the Mythical Age from Brickhead, as Artemis is coming forward, and he was also able to get right into the trade. Well, interesting that he is choosing basically to get rid of the market rather than the caravans. Definitely making plenty of sense, but not something that everybody would do. As chariot archers are just coming somewhere back from eRo, trying to discover if there's maybe something to kill and maybe where exactly the trade is going on and where they need to attack. Yeah, it's pretty much it, because basically right now the way into Brickhead's base is open through the middle. The Caribous are still alive from the very start of the game, and apparently he's still keeping the lure in there. Still being alive. It didn't really lure enough animals, and maybe it doesn't have even enough power for another animal. Not entirely certain, but I thought that at its case it would be actually auto-destroying. I don't know, but apparently it's still sticking there, and Brickhead would just kinda didn't feel like destroying his god power cast at the start of the game. Anyway, there was a bit of a expedition by eRo, as the horses have been able to kill the market, as eRo is going to be trying to rebuild it. Yeah, well, think again, as a few villages are... maybe a tower here? Maybe he could be trying to do that. Not entirely certain what's gonna happen. I would be expecting maybe earthquake. Sorry, don't move that. Maybe here. On this TC, because if he can capture this TC, then suddenly eRo will be having big problems. Big problems with the trade. So that could be a way for him to somehow win the game. And the earthquake is actually not being cast there. Interestingly enough, he's casting the right in there to basically get rid of the gold and also of the caravans. You can see how many are dying, and getting rid of the trade as well, because this Hippicon is gonna be absolutely slaughtering all of those villages in there. Yep. Oh no, switch into the villager, please. But maybe he could be killing even the tower before. Yeah, it seems like that he's killing the tower faster, and then actually is being built by the villager, as eRo is right now moving to the left side, and he seems to be a whole lot more partial to switching the battlefields to the left, because he probably realizes that even though there is still gold, it's kinda over 800, and he's much more interested in this gold mine, and then a market from here. Yeah, trade from here is gonna be basically the same as the one from the right side. But how's he looking for actually eRo with the gold? 300, not exactly huge. He's though popped, so it's not really that half bad, as even a few Petroboli are coming forward trying to get rid of the Migdol. It's not a bad idea at all, but with a very nice wall-in from eRo, it's still gonna be, there's still gonna be a chance for a few camels and anything to get at them and kill them. But for that, he still needs to be having the resources. Brickhead right now realizing that he needs to kill the villages rather than the Migdol. Yeah, definitely correct idea to do that, as eRo is having quite significant issues with the food, or rather with the gold, as he's trying to yet again right into the back of Brickhead's economy. But why doesn't he just sell? I mean, like, you're having 2000 food, 2000 wood, just sell whatever out of it, and you're gonna be having so many resources for potentially even some mercenaries from the TC. Apparently it doesn't seem to be what he wants to do, and finally Brickhead coming forward with the big guns. And the big guns are Helepoli, which are quite huge beasts. And with the Petroboli also coming forward, and one last hit. Yes, exactly, getting rid of the Migdol. And he probably could have chosen to destroy the Migdol altogether, because right now it's still standing. There's gonna be a chance for eRo to finish it a bit later. As of course, right now the army on the left side is pushing on the TC. Quite a good cover for that, with the Son of Osiris mainly, not just the chariots, but the Son of Osiris is the bigger problem for Brickhead at this point. But does he have some upgrades? Yes, he does. Besides the fortified TC, there's also masons and architects are probably gonna be somewhere a bit later coming forward into his game plan as well. As in the meantime, this basically seems to be a combination for Brickhead of Prodromai with some Hippicons. He's still missing the champion upgrade, unfortunately, at this point. But otherwise, the upgrades are not really half bad, but they are still the same as they have been about 5 minutes ago at this point, it seems. Okay, so it seems like the Hippicon are gonna be staying there, the Hippicon and the Prodromos, as a bit of a reinforcement of the TC is gonna be undergoing. Just kind of interesting trade, really. Just expecting that Brickhead is gonna be actually losing it. As on the left, there's gonna be just one catapult, of course, which seems to be still kinda enough, even against the Helepolis. But with all the army that is right now coming forward, unfortunately, it's not exactly the correct army, because of course Prodromai are having woeful fierce armor, just 27. It's not exactly huge. And they could be doing a whole lot better job with, of course, Hippicons. This is exactly the reason why they are dying so quickly. With, of course, a bit of help of the Son of Osiris as well. And then could be also the reason for that. You can see the resources coming, or rather going absolutely out of whack for eRo. Just sell like 3000 of the wood. And I don't know though, what, make a Titan maybe even. Even though he's not having all that many monuments, to be honest. That's kind of strange. There's a bit one. Is he having like literally one monument? No, two. Two to defend the TC as well, definitely nicely done. So he's having like literally two, and plenty of idols, 2 monuments. So no wonder that he actually doesn't have all that much favor, because he's of course spending plenty of it also on the Scorpion Man. But yeah, well, he should be making a bit more to basically prevent any kind of god powers. But at this point, what kind of god powers does he need to prevent? Probably none. Probably absolutely none, as Son of Osiris has been just now killed. He wasn't just careful enough, definitely. Nothing else behind it, because he was apparently killed by Helepoli. So that's a bit of a worse death. One of the worst deaths for Son of Osiris, unfortunately. But yeah, well, let's see how the battle is gonna be coming up, because one of the huge hurdles and obstacles has just been removed for Brickhead, and he should be right now having much better chances of overcoming the opponent. But first he needs to get the champions. He definitely needs to get the champions in there, but his economy is in absolutely different universe than for eRo. And what's the reason for that, actually? Well, he's having nice upgrades, but he's missing bowsaw and yeah, such for the woodline. Otherwise, quarry and irrigation are there for the opponent. That's probably gonna be all the upgrades that he can get, even carpenters. So he's having basically full upgrades that are available. That Brickhead could be still using a few more in there, and he definitely needs them, because so far he's having quite significant troubles, which are also resulting into the fact that he's kind of forced to produce Prodromi rather than the Hippicons. And well, that's not exactly that efficient for him. Interestingly enough, eRo has established the trait exactly where we talked about a bit before, coming basically from the left side all the way to the bottom. Or is he coming to the right? No, he's coming here. Okay, he's coming there. He is coming there, but of course right now it's exactly Brickhead yet again in the middle of his trade route, and it's gonna be quite difficult to keep the trade going without suffering some heavy losses, as Pharaoh has been right now. Sunus threat reborn. It's kind of interesting that once he actually rises up after being Son of Osiris, he apparently doesn't get the secondary number. Yeah, Sunus Red the second. That's interesting. We'd be really expecting that he could be. But yeah, apparently not, as the Helepoli seem to be the next strongest unit right now for Brickhead. They are gonna be game-changing, or trying to be game-changing. He's having Relic for cheaper siege weapons, definitely helping quite a bit to producing the Helepoli, because even though they are huge and really helpful, they're also quite expensive. Which is not the problem right now, and he's definitely pushing forward through that, even securing the gold mine potentially for himself. So is it gonna be working or not? As right now eRo through the right side is moving forward for a bit of raiding. Oh yeah, that's kinda a murder trap. All those towers and the fortress right there. Yeah, I can see how much damage they did. Man, he's having crenellations, right? It seems. Yeah, he's having crenellations. Definitely was. It was definitely evident that he's quite more successful actually shooting at them. And the extra damage from the towers was also kind of evident to see. So that didn't really work out for eRo, but we have also seen some Helepoli still being produced not only on the left side but on the right. So it seems that he is kind of halfway thinking that maybe he could be surprising the opponent through pushing through there and maybe catching eRo off guard at least a bit. At least a bit, and I've right now spilled my tea, damn it. Yeah, well, let's continue with the game, where the battle seems to be right now turning for eRo yet again, even though there was a bit of a chance for Brickhead to push forward through the Helepoli. Right now he has lost most of them, so yet again it's gonna be time waiting for the champions. He hasn't really improved anything at all. You can see his economy is really in a kind of bad position, but he's also getting close by to being housed, which is the moment when he's gonna be stockpiling resources and finally getting some extra upgrades if he can get them. Alright, eRo in the meantime, of course, still, yeah, just 2,000 food, 10,000 wood. Yeah, who cares about gold when I have 10,000 wood? Yep, not trusting actually the merchants on the local market, apparently. Doesn't want to exchange all of that treasure that he's having. But he is quite nicely popped. The full population limit that he can be getting as an ISIS, and of course he's also quite heavily raiding right in the middle of the trade, which he's just right now discovering. So I'm kind of thinking that it's gonna be just a question of time before he finally gets into this market and figures out that it's actually there. Because so far it seems like that he doesn't really know about it all that much. But much more importantly, horses are coming forward, and not only those. Also, Helipoli and also villagers trying to establish a few more stables on the right flank as another market is being built there, and switch of the markets yet again underway for eRo. And he's unfortunately gonna be switching into where Brickhead is right now switching also, so it's kind of funny as the players are more or less basically doing the same things, switching the battlefields at the same time, and really doing the same things overall, as the Helipolis is getting rid of the market, really making it as difficult as possible for eRo to get the gold. But yet again, eRo is absolutely going through the roof with the wood, already at 11,000. 11,000. So why is he right now insisting on having so many villagers right now on the wood? At this point, if I were him, I would be just basically deleting all of those 27 villages on the wood and either building more caravans or just basically more army. Because you can see this army, or rather this amount of resources he finally sent, or rather sold, it's correct English, sold, at least about 3,000 wood. He can be doing so much more damage at this point as Chimera is being made by Brickhead, and that's not a bad idea, because that is something that can work. We have, for example, seen Avengers work very well, but it was from Egyptian against a Greek. But on the other side, well, those Chimeras are not half bad, especially if you upgrade them. They can be quite powerful, and from a Poseidon, that's one of the stronger weapons in the Mythical Age that he's actually having. So let's switch right now into Brickhead as eRo is finally selling the resources and getting his economy under some kind of control, whereas Brickhead is still having problems with that. Kinda missing the food in here as he is trying to desperately finish with the stables. Unfortunately, not having enough luck, as of course there was some kind of counter build by eRo, who is trying to even produce a few towers here and there, because right now, of course, this is his trade route right on the side of the map. He's definitely lucky that he's having this little space in there that is allowing him to come forward, and kinda also lucky that it's not resulting into any kind of pathfinding problems, interestingly enough. You'll be maybe expecting that it could, as this seems to be really going for, I'm not entirely certain if actually for Brickhead. Because of course right now with the army from eRo coming forward, you can see champion spearman, bronze, and even iron weapons already. He's almost fully upgraded, whereas the opponent is still probably the same. Yeah, he hasn't really moved anywhere in the past about maybe 10 plus minutes. He's still having the same upgrades, because he's still having Brickhead so significant problems with the economy, and especially with the gold and the food, of course. As he's missing, for example, the last upgrade for him, that's, how is it called, flood or whatever. Yeah, flood control is the last upgrade that is missing, as well eRo is yet again trying to switch on the left, trying to deny the TC finally and fully. But he is also having kind of problems as with all the towers coming forward by Brickhead and the Chimeras finally being made in some kind of higher numbers. It seems like that the army is gonna be needed quite a bit stronger to deal with the problem at hand. But this Migral and the double towers, already triple towers, probably gonna be a few more quite soon, are heading into kind of tough situation for, of course, Brickhead to deal with that in the minutes to come. In the meantime, of course, he was able to finish at least one stable in there, as there's an attempted siege works by eRo, which is more or less also to deny the path in there. Okay, this is nice. To deny the path of Brickhead to somehow get into the trade route, as finally Brickhead figured that if he cannot get the army there, he is gonna be at least walling in all of those caravans. This is definitely nicely done, even though the villagers are gonna be killing him, or rather her. Yeah, she's gonna be paying for her insolence. And maybe the Hypicons are gonna be helping her a bit later. Those Chimeras are also coming forward, getting rid of the catapult, as this forward base is still very much strong and very important for the game to come. So maybe we're gonna be right now switching into a bit of an offensive for Brickhead here, as of course the Hypicons are gonna be a problem for the villages. They're gonna be all dying as the market has been yet again killed, and it's gonna be switching yet again to the left or not. Oh, right now finally the problem with pathing that I was expecting. Here it is. Here it is. But well, at any rate, this could be actually quite nice if Chimeras could get there with their special attack. That would be some grilling. That would be right some grill in there. But anyway, that's probably not gonna be happening, because eRo is right now successfully pushing Brickhead from that position, as he's also walling on the left side and hoping that he might have some kind of shooting range out of this wall and catapults behind it. That's exactly what he's trying to do, as archer ranges finally some kind of switch. Finally some kind of switch from Brickhead, because he's somehow recognizing finally that this is not exactly aiming anywhere. It doesn't seem like that he should be really winning with how the game is going, because he needs to at least somehow stabilize the situation, stop losing units, and get the upgrades. Right now he has a 160. He is exactly at 160. And you can see that finally the resources are stockpiling, so he could be getting the upgrades. He needs to get champion Hippigons, first and foremost. That's the most important upgrade for him right now. And then, of course, finish with the line upgrades, because otherwise he's just gonna be kind of falling behind, as those champion spearmen with the upgrades, bronze, and especially the iron weapons, still something that could be also improved by eRo, are just really good, and they are having, of course, the age up against their opponents, and that means that they are a bit more efficient. Prostegma, that's by Hippolyta, of course, in there. Hippolyta. I'm kind of thinking that I should be really learning the proper pronunciations in Greek and Egyptian. Not really Atlantean, but that's kind of close to Roman, so I'm thinking it could have been pretty much Latin in there. And it could be kind of fun to actually really use the proper pronunciations in there. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna be looking into that a bit later. But much more importantly, what is Brickhead looking at and into is getting rid of this build up on the left, which is a good idea, because I'm thinking he might be feeling that it could be time to switch the market from that position in here. Because that's also part of the problem, because his trade is woefully inefficient, rather above his opponent. As he's moving like across maybe half the map, more or less. Whereas he could be going from here all the way there, which should be like 3/4 of the map at least. Whereas his opponent is basically walking the 3/4 the whole time, which is the reason why he's of course having so much resources all the time. Besides, of course, the maniacal lumber camping and timbering. How is it called? Lumberjacking? Or just cutting down wood or whatever. Yeah, getting so much wood. Let's basically check if he's still having that problem. Yeah, he's having still 5,000 wood in there. He's probably having some kind of mini quest in this game to gather all the woods in the map. As he's right now, oh, he has been actually forced into inefficient trading right now by Brickhead. So this is a switch. And could be quite important, because even though right now eRo is having finally enough gold, he's right now missing on the food. And he's having even worse trade than Brickhead right now. So maybe there could be something going on right now for Brickhead. And eRo, he's probably quite unhappy about the situation at this point. Because inefficient trading is something that you want to force onto Egyptians. Because that's of course like one of the few ways that you can beat Egyptians in the late game. Once it gets there. You just need to stop their trade, and once you do, then you finally have the chance to beat them, because otherwise they just have even the extra mercenaries, so the extra population limit is just there. And if you are fighting against ISIS, yeah, well, that's just natural. She's having even the extra bonus for her. Alright, so we are yet again switching to the right, finally. Iron Mail and Champion Hippigons are coming in. Iron Mail is coming for eRo, but Champion Hippigons, of course, for the other player. Otherwise, he's still missing, of course, the extra upgrades. I'm thinking he could be using even more than the shields. He could be using the weapons, because having only copper weapons, that's really kind of underestimating the Hippigon's power quite a bit. Yeah, imagine if they were having the upgrades right now, they would be killing it so easily. But yeah, well, of course, they aren't, as Zelepolis is coming forward. And even more are coming there. So this TC right now is pretty much in danger, even though of course the mercenaries are gonna be helping quite a bit. Could be killing a few units, few villages here and there, Brickhead, but he did, much more importantly, finally kill the Migral. But he needs to kind of fall back, because here again those mercenaries, they are gonna be always a pain, which is exactly the reason for what I said a bit before. If you need to kill Egyptian in late game, you just need to kill his trade, because killing his TCs, like, you're just gonna be getting extra pop army in there out of nowhere. So what are you gonna do with the secondary army raiding you somewhere at the back with the camos? Exactly in here you can see he's just missing basically the last upgraded iron shields. Whereas on the left, he was having plenty of army there, but just not enough to push through all the towers and into the town center, with Theseus standing guard right in there, as this TC is finally gonna be actually falling. Okay, this is actually a significant victory for a Brickhead right there, as he is finally moving forward and pushing through the Egyptian, even through all the mercenaries, as all the army just couldn't get there in time. Because, yet again, it's moving as the slowest part, which is this mummy, at speed 4. Rest of the speeds, Champion Spearman 5, Camel 6, Chariot Archer 5. So they could have been going quite a bit faster than the mummy. But at the same time, he wanted probably all the army in there and the mummy to be like guarding them from the back or something like that. And transforming probably, of course, the Chimera. You need to micro it properly, so let's see if he micros properly or wastes it. He needs to right now convert the Chimera. Let's see. Oh yeah, he microed properly. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. So Chimera is gone. And a whole lot of towers are apparently gonna be coming up from eRo. But this is definitely an opportunity right now for Brickhead to somehow claim the game, because having the TC advantage is quite huge at this point, because he finally gets the upgrades that he was looking for. Even though, let's switch into his point of view, we can see eRo right now with the missing population. He's of course gonna be having plenty of resources himself, but he already kind of was upgraded, so he doesn't need it. For Brickhead though, finally having so much food, that's nice to see for him, as he is trying to steal the TC right now, sending plenty of villages forward. And can he somehow do it? He's first gonna be doing the same as eRo, trying to establish this the beachhead and the situation, trying to clear it with all the towers. Not a bad idea at all, because this is gonna be one of the deciding battles, of course, of this game. Because if he can get this TC, then 4 versus 2 TCs is suddenly quite a lot more interesting. And yep, exactly, kill the Pharaoh, and then you can deal with the villages, because they are gonna be so much slower in getting this up, as the Helipolis is definitely gonna be helping, making sure that this Migdol is not coming up, and it's gonna be just 400 gold wasted. In the meantime though, there is a pretty strong attack coming forward onto the TC. From the trade that is coming from there. It was finally switched from this position, because it was kind of risky. It was coming like through there, which is like half a screen away from where the army of eRo quite often is. So that was of course a problem for Brickhead, and he definitely will want to establish a trade from here sooner rather than later, because if he can get even more efficient trading, then it will allow him to get all the missing upgrades and really just somehow get some kind of advantage finally, as Theseus was the hero that Brickhead deserved and wanted, and he was able to get rid of the catapult in there. In the meantime, the TC has been finished for Brickhead, so he's right now 4 versus 2 TCs in pretty good position, to be honest, and he is denying any kind of efficient trade for his opponent. He's still right now, even with the Pharaoh at pretty bad trade route for him, even though it kind of seems to be more or less enough. But looking at the economy for Brickhead, it's gonna be a question if he's actually gonna be able to handle it, if he did get enough upgrades in there going. And unfortunately still didn't get the irons. I'm thinking he really should have before he's gonna be spending on the extra population limit army. Even though right now he's popped, I'm really thinking that he should be a bit more concentrated on that, because that's one of the reasons why actually all the army from eRo is still a big danger, and why he's having such problems in actually advancing a bit faster into the enemy and really killing him fully. Okay, this is painful for Brickhead. Apparently gonna be losing like most of the trade here. Well, scratch that, he's gonna be losing all the trade. Yeah, he's gonna be losing absolutely everything in that. This is gonna be, oh well, such a huge issue, because right now Brickhead doesn't have even any extra resources for anything, like for anything at all, because can see his that 400, and he's basically right now growing up in those, only because he doesn't have gold to spend on the units. That's the only reason he's still having it, and I'm kind of disappointed that he isn't continuing with the Chimeras. Even against the mummies, still I'm thinking that the Chimeras be useful, and all those dead donkeys absolutely anywhere. Well, he literally lost all the donkeys. Is he? Oh well. Well, they're gonna be dead pretty soon as well once they get into the battlefield again. And unfortunately right now Brickhead is sending just a few units in there and making them probably rather than sending them, because he was able to successfully kill the TC in the front. So eRo is right now is only at the 1 TC finally. Only at 1 TC. But at the crucial moment where Brickhead could be thinking that he could be winning, he lost the trade. So he is out of any kind of options how to even take the TC at this point. He's absolutely screwed on the economy. And I'm thinking he's having huge problems even replenishing the army. You can see 113 pop limit. He's absolutely screwed at this point. Like absolutely, totally. This was a very nice play by eRo. And even though he lost these TCs to that, and right now you can see that he's having a bit of a session, some kind of, I don't know, anti-alcoholics meeting or whatever in there, in the market, apparently with the Pharaoh leading it, all of it. He is not able to do anything with this all that much. Even catapults are gonna be headshotting all those Hippicons. And with the extra fire from the towers, yeah, well, this is gonna be coming into eRo's hands quite well and in no time. So you can see even the trade here coming from there into this TC. How much they are actually carrying? Show me the donkey. Like nothing, really? No. Here's 7 gold. 7 gold per donkey. As the market is gone, finally some militias that are probably gonna be helping at least a bit, getting rid of a few units here and there. But it was such a clutch play by eRo. Such a clutch play by eRo, because if this didn't happen, well, at the same time he would be probably having the army and the defense, and he wouldn't have lost the TC. That's probably something that we need to consider. But, well, just a nice counterplay to what Brickhead was doing, because he completely killed Brickhead at this point. He might be even trying to claim the TC back in there. Definitely wouldn't be the worst course of action. He does have architects, so all the upgrades that he potentially could have gotten. And, well, he just couldn't do anything here. And with the towers coming forward and the mummies being built by eRo, yeah, well, he's gonna be claiming the TC. And yet again, we're gonna be looking at an attempt at this TC pretty soon, I'm thinking. Because right now, Brickhead is in a very bad shape. Very bad shape indeed. And with 6,000 would still be there, we could be expecting him to sell plenty and even buy the food. He just basically, he can do whatever he wants. He's having plenty, but he needs the extra population limit to be able to produce at least a few units more. And even this woefully inefficient trade, you can see he even killed a few camels to basically get some population limit. He's getting for this one. So he's having even better one than for a moment Brickhead was having, 11 gold. And he's getting even more from, of course, the empowerment a bit later. But yeah, the camels are still there. Still there. As the Helepolis is trying to get rid of the remaining army. But finally a few units and Hippolyta is coming forward, trying to help with the problem at hand. As this TC is going to be, of course, under fire. As the catapults are coming in there. And it seems that eRo will be able to get out of the witch's shovel. And hopefully we're gonna be seeing a whole lot more game in here apparently. And maybe some extra claim by him and coming forward into attack. Because if he can get the trade going yet again from this position, he's already kinda halfway there. Securing it with the ballista towers. Definitely can be doing that. How many actually upgrades is he having on buildings? He's having all of them as well. Yeah, he's having everything. So this TC is yet again down. And Brickhead, well, at this point, it's not like he minds as far as population limit goes. Because of course he cannot even make that. He's right now hovering above 100 and having so significant problems because of the lost trade, which is just now being rebuilt finally and going where it was going before. So he tried switching it somewhere else, didn't work out, so he's going to the trusty way that was actually going quite well. And we're gonna be heading where we were about 15 minutes ago, as we are heading into 44th minute of this game. Quite a long one indeed. Quite a long one indeed, as we have heard military barracks somewhere here. Hypaspis. Oh, finally. Finally Brickhead is actually recognizing that it might be a good idea to switch from the Hippicons. We have already seen him build actually archer ranges on the left, but somehow nothing came out of it. Absolutely nothing came out of it. So finally right now some Hypaspis are gonna be coming into play, which is not a bad idea, but looking at the amount of resources that he's having, how is he actually gonna be upgrading that? That's the bigger problem. Because even though it's a nice idea with Hypaspists, I mean, unupgraded Hypaspis against champion spearmen with upgrades. Yeah, I don't exactly see that fight. Even though there are country units, I don't really see that fight at all. That's not just gonna be working. As of course right now eRo trying to rekindle the idea that he was having a bit before. With the towers first, basically the same as how Brickhead was able to secure the position in there. And, well, with the Helepolis almost dying and the Hippicons coming forward, no extra upgrades yet, we are still at basically the same. With the baseline of upgrades for the past 25 minutes, I'm thinking, for Brickhead. That's how much problems he's having with the economy. Whereas for the opponent, he's also kinda missing the last iron shields for quite some time, which is a bit interesting, because you would be thinking with all the resources that he's having, he probably also kind of forgetting that. He probably forgot that he's missing the last upgrade at this point. Because I cannot really explain why with those resources you're not getting the iron shields. But well, that does tend to happen. That does tend to happen, as the Hypaspis still missing any kind of upgrades in there. And this creep of the buildings is not a bad idea, because of course what this does is not only that you can faster produce units into the battlefield, but also that they can catch some basically damage from, for example, the chariot archers if they are on auto fire. So that can be helping in that way as well. Just basically spam buildings. And then we mustn't forget the third thing that is probably even more important than the past two, or not that the first one with the faster replacement of units, but that we are seeing Poseidon here. That means that every building destroyed is gonna be supplying extra units with the militias. So that's another reason why actually it's a very good idea by Brickhead to just spam buildings everywhere, just spam them, especially when there is plenty of fight. Because you can be getting just units for free, like here, exactly, those militias, because they're not half bad. You can see, 100 hit points, very good armor, 43, 35, and 7.7 attack, not bad. It's really not a bad unit. It's really not a bad unit at all. So, yeah, spam the buildings. Spam the buildings and go for them, as apparently the towers are gonna be killed, just to make sure that eRo is not gonna be having some second thoughts about this market somewhere there. As of course he comes from Brickhead, as he's getting his, or the ground under his feet yet again, are everywhere trying to clean up the situation. I'm just waiting for him, really, please, build the market there. Build the market there, finish with the wall in, and be happy. And be having so much gold that you don't know what to do with it. Please just do that, because it's even a secure trade route. Much more secure than what right now is going on in there, as apparently eRo is yet again going to be dealing with that. As of course the militias, well, they're gonna be trying to kill the champion units in there, apparently gonna be succeeding with a few losses here and there. Yep, they're gonna be working. As the DC is right now finally, of course, being retaken by eRo. He's gonna be finishing just now. Yep, he will. Or will he? Okay, there was one shot in there by the Helipolis, and exactly very nice micro yet again. Kill the Pharaoh. Kill the Pharaoh first. He's the biggest problem, not the villagers. The Pharaoh is the problem. Always and always. And right now, unfortunately, though, he doesn't have enough units. And this is almost like... this is almost like ancestors were cast here. You can see 5 ancestors, or rather minions, from the mummies. From the 3 mummies. This is, well, finally, the power of the mythical units. Yet again, in full view here. And those dudes, they are definitely paying off. Because that's, yet again, extra unit. And 1 unit dead for the opponent. So this is basically like if you are using priests in Age of Empires, or monks as well in the expansion of Age of Mythology, Tale of the Dragon. You just not only stealing the unit from enemy, you basically get in one for yourself as well. So it's basically 2 for 1. It's not only 1 unit lost, which is why conversions are really quite powerful and something hard to balance. Alright, so this is very nicely done so far by eRo, who is re-establishing the position on the map with the Migdol and of course with the siege works. Right now, yet again seems to be eRo right now pushing forward, as he's also raiding a bit on the left side, trying to kill at least a few villages here and there with raiding, which is not really anything all that major right now for Brickhead. It really isn't. But I'm kinda disappointed that he hasn't repaired the TC yet, and also that he hasn't gotten the flood there still, right? I hope that I'm not speaking out of turn, but yeah, he definitely could be going for flood still. So that's something that he's certainly missing. What kind of extra upgrades you could be really getting, for example, for the Toxotai and Peltasts? The Shafts of Plague. There could be some kind of idea. I'm really liking the archer ranges, and maybe it could be working for him against all the spearmen. I'm really thinking it could be even better than the Hippaspis, because Hippaspis of course get absolutely shredded by the champion chariots. So I'm thinking combination of Toxotai with Hippicons will be a whole lot better than what he was attempting to do. But in the meantime, of course, on the right side there is a full-on push by eRo forward yet again into the forward base, which seems to be working very well, especially with the support of all the mercenaries. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that Brigade would be having any kind of answer to that, as the market is still there, but the chariot archers are there as well. So they're just basically waiting once all those poor donkeys are coming back there and gonna be killing them. Really. Oh, hello. I was just going to say, When is Brickhead gonna be figuring out that we could be getting the market there? Well, it's kind of weird placement. Why not just build it here? Why? Why there? Anyway, it's just not making that much of a difference. I'm thinking gonna be like maybe 5 gold difference, something along those lines. But those dudes, they are definitely killing the trade yet again for the second time. And Brickhead, even though he's sending units there finally, the damage is yet again being done. And from eRo we're gonna be switching into Brickhead, as eRo is having quite a good economy going, but the gold is getting kind of low yet again. It's because of the inefficient trade. He kinda needs to establish a better trade somewhere. But interestingly enough, Brickhead is very nicely established on the left next to gold. So that's the last gold mine in the game, and he's gonna be the master of it. And capturing the last few glittering pieces of ground and gathering them for his lord. And it's gonna be, of course, quite helping him in the economy, because his trade is kinda sucky all the time. But eRo's economy definitely isn't. He's nicely prepared, and I'm just at this point waiting when eRo is gonna be coming for a Titan, to be honest, because Brickhead doesn't seem to be coming for it at all. He's having right now so much favor, so is there some kind of opportunity for him? He's still praying for producing some chimeras yet again, because I would really like that. But Iron Mail, hello, finally. It seems like that Brickhead might be getting the full upgrades in there. Iron Mail. But still just the copper weapons, please. Bronze weapons are not exactly that expensive. Come on. Could be definitely getting that. Finally, he's getting the resources, of course. You can see 5 or rather 800 food, 600 gold in there, with 100 wood in there as well. He seems to be quite comfortable place at this point. But those mummies are a problem. So unfortunately, his god, or rather his mythical age hero Polyphemus is not exactly huge, even though on the balance page he's slightly better. He's still not Bellerophon. That's kinda what you are comparing all the heroes to, Bellerophon and Odysseus. That's what you do, as Zeus definitely did get the best ones. There's not really that much of a doubt about that. But even though the Poseidon ones are kinda competent, as medium archers are coming forward, and bronze weapons, yes, Brickhead is going places finally. Finally he is. And that's definitely good news for him, and pretty bad news for eRo, because the situation might be getting a whole lot more difficult for him once the upgrades are finally there. For the Poseidon player, we're gonna be seeing quite a bit different dynamic. Those Hippicons just waiting for the market to be rebuilt there, and attempted by eRo, as he's trying to just basically get some kind of map control through the towers and whatnot. Not a bad idea. But of course Brickhead is under attack. As even though he is getting the upgrades, and right now, wow, look at the economy, finally getting going. Did he get flat already? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And he's still having just hand ducks. He could be definitely doing a better job with the upgrade in there also into the bow saw and even carpenters, because he is still gathering a bit of wood, and he can be even selling it for something. Plenty of idols in there could be helping in the battle. As tax collectors are being researched, and he is quite in the risk of losing the TC. Finally, he is kind of forced to repair it. He should have, to be honest, repair it a whole lot earlier, because this TC is kind of half health for like, I don't know, maybe even 30 minutes, something like that. Which is kind of getting ridiculous, because we are already at 51 minutes, get closing in on the hour of game time in here. And the Hippicons finally getting into important places, yes, as the TC seems to be standing quite fine. But these mummies getting the minions in there, they are, how are they actually strong, the minions? Show me a minion. Pretty good upgrades, or rather defense, 3440 and 8.5 attack and 140 hit points. They're actually much better than the militias, and much better than the militias for the Poseidon. So that's even better bonus. But of course, you don't get them just for buildings. You need to build a mummy. It's quite expensive kind of for Egyptians, especially as far as the favor goes usually. But at any rate, Brickhead seems to be defending quite fine at this point. But there is something happening on the right. There was an attempt at siege works and even more ballista towers to probably get rid of this base on the right. And oh well, Polyphemus is gonna be made. Speaking of the devil, just a bit before, where is he gonna be produced? In what TC? Or maybe fortress? Maybe a fortress. Or like, what's going on? Is he already out somewhere? Have I missed him? Oh no, he's been made on the right. Alright. So he's probably gonna be coming somewhere to the right to help with the battlefield. Though he should be definitely much more useful on the left side. But he's having, yeah, he's having a waypoint to the left, so Polyphemus is gonna be joining on there. On there, which is... of course. Like, is it gonna be enough? I'm kinda thinking not. Because with all of those chariot archers here and there, I'm thinking he should be kinda easy to single out, even though at 700 hit points and 56% PS armor. He's kinda badass. But basically catching up with the mummies, even though at only 4 speed. Polyphemus is also the 4 speed, so he's not exactly gonna be running them down. Hippolyta potentially could, but I would be liking a few more extra heroes there. For example, even getting the Theseus, and then in the third age... Oh man! Right now I completely forgot. No, it's not Hippolyta, it's actually Atalanta. Yeah, I'm calling Atalanta Hippolyta most of the game. So where is actually Hippolyta? Where is he not making Hippolyta? Because he needs her more than anything, even though her aim is not exactly huge. She is the ranged hero, so Atalanta here is exactly useful. With the 6 speed, she can get at least rid of few of them. But you can see they're still very much alive and being rebuilt by eRo quite fast, but we are missing Hippolyta. So where is she? Where is she? Because she is the most important one, but interesting switch. Interesting switch by Brickhead. He's gonna be making Hydras. Well, that's... Okay, this one is dead, unfortunately. He's gonna be dead, but this one is also dead, this mummy. And I'm kinda liking it, maybe... I'm not certain if I'm gonna be liking it more than the Chimeras or not. It's a definitely valid idea, because Brickhead does have exactly the resources for that. He's having plenty of food, whereas Chimeras cost gold, right? Chimeras cost gold, if I'm right, yes, 300. Which is of course a pretty big problem right now for him. And even though he could be upgrading them, and then Chimeras would be very deadly. Well, the problem with the gold is just basically real for Brickhead, and if he can produce units for just food and a favor, I'm thinking it could be definitely worth it. And Hydras are not bad counter units to all of the infantry that is being present, and even they are solid tanks. They are solid tanks on the chariot archers, so I'm really thinking why not. It's actually a very good idea, very good thought. 800 hit points, and with all the armor and potential for all the extra attack, they are not really bad. You can see how much they can tank. All those spearmen. And it takes them so long to kill the Hydra. So that's exactly what he needs, all those tanks to help him. And if he can produce them on some kind of regular basis, yeah, well, it's not really half bad, as he's even pushing through the left side onto the market, definitely nice. With those cool Petroboli, yeah, when they're actually all upgraded with the engineers, they're actually looking pretty cool. Those silver Petroboli, not really looking like some kind of cheap war machines, as they are in the Heroic Age. So when you first make them, well, that's not gonna be here. And yeah, of course, he's having 2 pharaohs with Sobek Nerfu, and then Sunus had the 12th already, so he has already died 12 times. And this is the reason, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Why I was a bit before, about half an hour ago, looking why the hero, or rather the pharaoh, that I thought was actually spawned after Son of Osiris is not having the number behind him. It was because it was the 2nd pharaoh, and he hasn't died yet. Okay, so that was one of the reasons in that. Even though I kind of think he already died at that point. Yeah, I kind of think that he did. So maybe actually the 2nd pharaoh is not numbered for some reason. It's kind of funny. Yeah, well, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. He's having 2 pharaohs, of course, which is quite useful for him as far as empowerment goes and everything. As this battle seems to be yet again switching into Brickhead's advantage. As he's right now pushing forward quite well. And is he having already some nice upgrades? Medium Toxodice still. Could be definitely using a few more in there. Iron mail and iron weapons. Nice, and only missing the iron shields. As his opponent was missing iron shields as well, but he has already rectified that problem. And he is fully upgraded as he can potentially be. Okay, so Theseus is gonna be taking on this mummy one-on-one. And even a few hits by the Petroboli gonna be helping. So yes, she is dead, but there are gonna be a few more, of course, coming forward. Somewhere else there is a bit of raiding going on at the back, which is not exactly a job for a Hydra, to be honest, even though they are running themselves into very literal corner of the world. And the Hydra is actually getting 1 extra head out of that. Okay, so it was worth it for her. As iron shields for Brickhead, exactly as you were talking about them, are there. As the market is going well. And he might be wanting to actually switch off the auto queue there. Because right now he's probably a bit overdoing the market. He's maybe overdoing it slightly. As the army is right now pushing forward, seems to be that maybe still Brickhead is having a bit more military units at this point. Whereas on the right, what's actually going on in there? Okay, so finally some siege works from eRo. And a tower. As there, the catapult is gonna be dealing with those buildings. He already killed one of those. But Brickhead did notice, it seems like. Well, not really. Oh yeah, he did. Because the catapult was just there. But unfortunately the tower is gonna be absolutely shredding the Hippicon. Yeah, not exactly huge. Not exactly huge. But the militias, they are gonna be dealing with the problem at hand. Quite fine in there. Anyway, we are gonna be moving here with spearmen coming ever forward. Yet again, as they are gonna be attempting to maybe disrupt the trade for another time. As the archers have been researched finally. And are we already having the mythical age upgrade from Artemis on them? I just need to find them first. There they are. Not yet. But the full upgrades are definitely promising right now. But he's kind of missing the upgrade on basically faster making of the units in there. He's having Levy Cavalry in that, so that's fine for the horses. But for Toxotai, he's still missing that. As eRo is gonna be switching into another tower span on the left side from the right for a moment. As both players seem to be thinking that this is where they want to wage battle and war. Yet again, this is gonna be Migdol, exactly. As you're gonna be switching for a moment into eRo, who is yet again having such a ridiculous amount of wood in there. And food as well, to be honest. So he could be definitely selling in a bit and probably making a few more military buildings because he's apparently having problems with staying popped. So he needs to do something. And I'm really kind of curious why he still hasn't gone for the Titan. Because he's definitely in a position for like the last half an hour at least to make a Titan. Which could be disrupting the game quite significantly, even though he would be losing population limit. He's an Egyptian and he's exactly the one who can deal with that because of mercenaries. Which would be making up for the 20 population limit quite fine. But the Titan, that will be coming in, laying waste to these bases of Brickhead. Yeah, I don't exactly see how he would be all that successful dealing with that. I really don't think so. And oh, here we go! Finally, champion Hetairois are coming forward also into play. That's interesting. And they are always reminding me, of course, of the Laser Bear. With their cape flowing behind them. They're almost looking like the Laser Bears of Canada. But yeah, well, they are a whole lot different. And they are not a cheat unit, of course. So champion Hetairois with extra attack against buildings, of course, 250%. 250% extra attack might be an interesting idea, but at the same time, still, they are not having exactly huge armor. Even though the pierce one is not bad, 56% is actually pretty decent. But the melee one at 34% is not great. Not great against the ballista towers and, of course, the boiling pitch. Yep, come in there. It seems like that those horses are actually not a bad idea. I'm actually liking it. I'm liking it quite a bit. Much more for Brickhead than this. It's actually nicely done by eRo. For the second time, complete slaughter of the trade. So Brickhead, well, he probably should be doing a bit more on securing the trade routes in there. So, well... can you hear all of those donkeys dying? For the second time. Well, is it gonna be the same problem for Brickhead this time? Probably not. You can see probably not, because he's already having quite a good stockpile, even of other resources in his how is it called? Well, stockpile. So yeah, in his stores. As burning pitch is being researched for Brickhead as well, so that his towers and whatever are as efficient as possible. As Polyphemus is gonna be having a bit of a work with the Pharaoh and with the units as well. With Hippolyta finally being made, but apparently already completely mauled. But not only the spearmen, but also the chariot archers. With finally, of course, the heavy Toxotai doing their job in there, but still missing the extra upgrade they could be getting from Artemis. They definitely should be, because it's 15% extra attack. So that's a pretty big thing for him at this point. Well, what else is going on here? Secondary market. So that he can rebuild the lost donkeys quite a bit faster. It's definitely gonna be needed right there. In here. So finally some kind of wall-in, comprehensive wall-in is coming forward. There seems to be, yeah, they are right next to each other, so no problem. But yeah, Brickhead is definitely having the last of it. He's kinda getting tired of all the donkeys dying. Well, that was a mummy, killing one of the hydras in there. And he seems to be really aiming for pretty good wall-in in there, which is gonna be making stuff quite a lot harder for eRo. As eRo won't be having all that many chances right now, from now on, to actually get into trade route to kill it for the third time. Well, on the right there is some movement. I've already seen that from eRo. I'm kinda thinking he might be wanting to establish a trade here again. Probably just make it here. Make the market there, or maybe there. And you're gonna be having so much efficient trade. And you could be quite probably killing quite a few caravans and even some villages, so that you can get a few more military units for the battles in there. So of course right now Brickhead is yet again being pushed back with the towers and the Migdol, and even more towers coming forward by eRo. As we have already breached that 1 hour of game time in here. We are at 1 hour, 1 minute and 16 seconds at this point, and the game is still not over. Still not over at all. Alright, there seems to be a bit of raiding going on, or raiding. Okay, actually this is not a raiding. This was eRo trying a bit of a sneak. Trying to build a few extra catapults so that he can potentially abuse this DC. The starting one for Brickhead, not a bad idea at all. Actually a very nice one. A very nice one. As on the left, well, chariot archers yet again trying to get into the trade, but right now with all the horses in there, it's probably not gonna be that easy. But still there are a few holes that can be abused by the blue player, and he's definitely doing his best and utmost to do exactly that. Okay, so this is looking kind of promising for eRo. Seems to be having a slight edge at this point, as the archers are just now entering the battlefield. Still missing the last upgrade, and still missing, of course, the extra upgrade. I'm just gonna be probably reminding you about it quite a bit. As unfortunately, this is a big problem right now for Brickhead, because losing the fortress is quite painful, as he loses his capability to produce the helipoli, which are absolutely crucial to get rid of the ballistas and the Migdol strongholds as well. So that is of course a pretty big problem for him, as Migdol is being made by eRo on the right, and that is nice idea, nice thought, because I would be kind of like, what I would be liking from actually eRo to do is switching into a few elephants, even though Petroboli, oh damn it, those counter units, Prodromi would be really quite a good unit against them. They are really effective against elephants. They could be also quite effective in like dividing attention and also getting rid of the buildings in there. I'm not really how bad at that. So that would be some kind of idea for eRo. He definitely does have the resources for that. Yeah, you can see his resources right now, and he's popped. He's popped with those resources. He just doesn't know what to do with resources. So what he needs to do, I'm thinking, I'm really kind of curious if it's some kind of gentlemanly agreement that they're not gonna be going for Titans. I'm really kind of curious if that's something that went on in that. Definitely possible, because at this point I just can't imagine that eRo wouldn't be going for it. With so many resources in stockpile, he just needs to produce a few more monuments. He already did. You can see he's having all the monuments that he can potentially get. Even monument to gods, monument to pharaohs, all the monuments that he potentially could have gotten. So his generation of favor is so fast that he can be getting the favor for the Titan very easily. But yeah, so far he isn't. And he's not seeming to be having any kind of idea like that at all. As the towers from eRo are still encroaching forward and moving forward still. Alright, so how's it actually gonna be continuing from now on? Because right now this is looking quite promising for eRo. It seems like the Brickhead is having issues somehow stay in the situation. He's right now trying to produce a few more hydras here and there, as he's finally having champion Toxotai. So all the upgrades that he can get normally, but otherwise still missing the one from Artemis. So gonna be question if he actually can figure it out, because where is it actually upgraded? I'm right now not entirely certain if it's upgraded in archery range or in temple. Because if it's upgraded in temple, he could be easily missing it if he's not used to Artemis, even though he's playing Poseidon very often. So he should be really used to all the upgrades that she's giving. Which is kinda right now weird why he's not even upgraded. You can see right now his resources are not bad either. He's not popped, but he's close by in there. Having 1200 on the food, 700 on the wood, 900 on the gold, and 75 on favor. So he definitely does have the resources to go for the Venom arrow, or how is it called? What is it called? Shafts of Plague. Well, he's having just only Venom on it, but it's called something altogether different. Altogether different, as finally some Helepoli are finally getting there yet again. As that's apparently gonna be a combination of Helepoli and Petroboli, which is nice thinking. Because the Petroboli are having very good range. You can see 30 range, which is basically the same as catapults. They are also at 30. With the Helepoli being tanks in front of them, and Petroboli basically the real siege. Getting rid of the towers and the problematic things at range. In there. As Sunu's threat is already the 14th and is definitely right now with his position in there working on becoming the 15th. Yeah, well, he definitely will be. He definitely will be, as finally, okay, so it was no gentlemanly agreement. Brickhead is actually the one coming for the secrets of the Titans, so we're gonna be seeing Titans, whereas eRo is not. I would be definitely liking to see the chat when Brickhead is actually getting there, if there's gonna be some kind of complaining by eRo that he thought this is not gonna be a Titan game. But at any rate, it apparently is going to be a Titan game, as Brickhead is, well, right now gonna be forced to defend against all of this, because eRo was having a thought that maybe he could be coming forward, getting through the walls, and much more importantly, establish some kind of base there, with the ballista towers, then maybe a Migdol, maybe some kind of siege works, and slowly but surely getting exactly into the sweet spot, and yet again, for the third time in the game, getting rid of the trade of his opponent. Otherwise, then, of course, market has been switched already by eRo into a much more efficient position, so his trade is gonna be quite reasonable, even though he's still also maintaining this bad one. He's still maintaining basically 2 trades, it seems like. I don't know, let's switch into eRo. That's for 58. 58, and those are for what? 57. Oh, are there actually some kind of camels coming into the top? So far I don't see them. Ah, well, those probably. Oh, this one maybe. 89, yeah, 58 against 89. As right now the Titan is gonna be made, and it's gonna be for Brickhead, the very first one. So let's see if it's gonna be a game decider or not. So far we have seen another attempt by eRo, by some kind of surviving villager, but Hydra caught wind of that, and she's gonna be eating the villager alive. Yep, you're not getting away from this Hydra. As we are right now seeing, of course, eRo pushing forward through the left, and it seems that Brickhead is having quite an issue in somehow securing the position in there himself, as the secrets of the Titans are, of course, gonna be built by eRo also. Well, so how is it going with the Titan? He is already halfway there. Already halfway there, almost. Well, not really, 30%. That was me getting a bit ahead of time, as the villagers are trying to make a tower not only here, but also at the very back. And they seem to be successful almost. Almost. It was just noticed by Brickhead. And of course the heroes, yeah, well, the heroes are gonna be getting rid of all of that. All of this without any kind of problem whatsoever. But this is something that eRo is definitely keeping in mind and wants to do as fast as possible. Because this is not a bad idea. This could be resulting into some kind of deadly mistake for Brickhead that he wouldn't be noticing, and the way through the back, or even some kind of siege works a bit later, and through the catapults into his main TC, even though there is no economy left, you can see there's absolutely no economy on the food source in there. Well, still, it could be painful to lose the population limit right there. So we are heading into like a real late game with the Titans, as we are at an hour and 7 minutes at this point. Let's see what the Titans are gonna be doing. They're probably gonna be switching 1 for 1. Don't really expect any kind of huge advantage from that, because with the empowerment, the Titan gate should be coming up fairly quickly, even though there is no empowerment yet. But I don't exactly think that empowerment actually even works on Titan gate at the same time. Not positive, but I think not. I actually think that it doesn't. Which means that he will have to just basically place as many villages there as possible. But before the Titan gets there, I'm thinking he's gonna be up. So it should be basically trade 1 for 1. And nothing really all that major. As a lot of walling is actually coming up from eRo as well. But these Hetairoi are definitely making their presence count and making all those villages more or less idle. As there is probably a bit of a push forward, as unfortunately for eRo, he wasn't able to get out, or get the towers up and walls up fast enough, which means that the horses got through and they're gonna be killing the trade, at least for the moment. And then, of course, right now the Titan is gonna be heading south and maybe trying to get there fast enough. Is he gonna be fast enough or not? That's a question here. Well, he has to take a bit inefficient route to find a gate and pass through it. As of course the horses are gonna be killing everything that they potentially can. So this trade is right now gone, the efficient one, the very nice one, as the catapult is still kinda idly alive in there. Well, it could be helpful against the Titan a bit later. It could be helpful. And 10,000. Well, looking at this now, I'm actually thinking he could have gotten there. He chose not to, but I'm thinking he actually could have gotten there in time. Yeah, I'm absolutely certain he could have gotten onto the Titan in time. And he messed up. Oh, well, Brickhead kinda messed up. He could have gotten on the Titan gate. Because can you see him here? And he even take a detour and a stop in there. And still only 84%. At this time, I'm fairly certain he could have been already on Titan gate. So Brickhead definitely missed an opportunity, and a big one. A big opportunity right there, because right now he's really receiving plenty of extra damage. From all the TC, from the catapult even, and from the big doll. Which is gonna be, of course, like one less hit for him to die to the Titan of his enemy. Oh man, that's a mistake in there. Mistake by Brickhead. Let's see if he's gonna be paying for that or not. As another bird person is gonna be joining the battlefield after Son of Osiris. So let's move to the right side to get rid of this dude, who is already down 500 hit points. So you can already see the problem coming forward. Because right now, Brickhead will have to deal with the rest of the Titan. Whereas all those priests are just absolutely eaten out of the Titan. Quite significantly so. There's gonna be, of course, an attempt to build the TC as soon as possible for eRo. With Brickhead not having really any kind of significant push through the left side. Because right now, he's of course missing the population limit for the Titan. Even though it's true for eRo as well. Yeah, well, he doesn't have anything really anywhere else, it seems. He's right now pushing all the army through the right side and hoping that it's gonna be enough. He's gonna be trying to deny and successfully denying the TC yet again. As we are right now seeing the Titan fight, and the Hydra could be definitely helping. She's already having 4 heads or all 5? Oh no, she's having all 5. No, that's a 5-headed Hydra. Feast your eyes on this rare sight, as she is gonna be eating. At least try to eat into the Titan, but she's gonna be valiantly dying at this point, with Theseus trying to at least get a few hits onto the Titan as well. But yeah, you can see this one from Brickhead is absolutely getting shredded, and this Titan from eRo is gonna be still very much alive. Once the red one is gonna be falling, which is gonna be about now 1000 hit points left. Man, right now it's gonna be up to Theseus and Polyphemus to get rid of this monster. It definitely being a big problem, because of course he will be getting rid of all of this build up, even though not really for too long, I'm thinking, because this is gonna be a whole lot of extra damage if the towers actually are gonna be fighting against the Titan and not against the barracks. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. That's a problem. And Order of Azarath, I'm thinking the extra attack is all around. I'm thinking damage is going all around. Let's see right now. I cannot click. Yeah, they're dying also at the back. I cannot click on this dude. But they're definitely receiving damage also behind them. So I'm thinking that it's basically all around. Maybe there's some kind of like very wide radius but I'm thinking it's also behind them, so unfortunately attacking from the back wouldn't have really helped all that much. As right now Brickhead will be having a bit of a chance of trying to take the TC, but in the meantime all this missing army has been used by eRo to try and build a big wall right in the middle of the trade yet again, but in the middle of all those towers and fortresses and whatever. It's of course proving quite difficult, but not impossible. Not impossible. Not impossible at all, as those catapults trying to get exactly off those problematic towers and off the walling from Brickhead, as Brickhead will need to produce quite plenty of army right here. But much more interestingly, eRo is out of population of army. He's having plenty of resources. He can make it, but he probably doesn't have where to make it. He's having problems with that. You can see 150 and out of 146. Let's switch into Brickhead, who is having 180 population limit because he was yet again for the second time, and yet again at the same time he's gonna be losing trade. That's kind of funny, but this time it's not really any kind of problem for him, or any kind of major problem, because he's already having plenty of extra resources to spare. So this time it could be working a whole lot better for a Brickhead. As eRo, well, he is able to keep the TC at least for the time being, but already damage is being done, and the extra population limit is definitely working. As Hippolyta, well, she is getting rid of the mummies, and of course Polyphemus is helping quite immensely also with Atalanta fighting with a spear against the enemy spearmen as well. Yeah, well, Elepoli definitely quite useful, getting rid of the buildings. And this is gonna be what, Migdol? Yes, Migdol. Attempted Migdol. And, well, this one is just getting rid of the buildings that would potentially be danger to him. As, catapult. Oh, well, this is actually quite sneaky. He was first able to get through this wall, and right now he's gonna be getting the right on this TC. So it's gonna be a question if actually Brickhead is gonna be noticing, because it's only one unit, even though it's on the minimum standing out so much. You can see, yeah, it was standing out just a bit too much. So those champion Hippicons are gonna be killing it just now. Yep, not really any kind of problem with that. And this was... that wasn't really finished for eRo, but still was quite problematic. It's apparently gonna be coming now in no time as well. As another one, better one for Brickhead, is gonna be coming forward to deny this kind of opportunity yet again. Well, eRo is right now pretty much in the defensive. Even though he's still having some kind of idea what to do, he yet again wants to finish with the walling. This time somewhere else. With plenty of spearmen coming forward to basically raid on the trade right there, with a tower being attempted right in the middle, and plenty of villages, well, not really plenty, just 3, which is kind of more than 1, so let's call it plenty, attempting to get into the citadel wall and try to finish it yet again to make it inefficient. As well, unfortunately through this raiding I'm thinking he's gonna be letting his opponent know that he's in there, but with those spearmen everywhere it's also gonna be kind of harder for Brickhead to stop that from happening. So the tower is, or rather the wall is probably gonna be coming up there, as of course another fortress is attempted by Brickhead here. Can he actually finish it? It's gonna be very tricky. He will probably be doing a bit better service to himself with basically trying to finish towers first. Even though against all those mercenaries it's always gonna be tricky. And the army is definitely not bad for the champion spearmen. Champion spearmen are quite a solid unit in the Mythical Age, and well, even though Hippaspis are another unit, he definitely needs plenty of upgrades, like for example right now medium infantry coming in there. It's kind of interesting that he's still insisting on the infantry, even though I would have probably thought that Toxotai would be slightly better, but he's probably thinking he doesn't have all that much of a wood economy, and he wants to be spending all the wood on the Helepolis, so maybe that's the reason behind that, because Hippaspis are pretty much cheap, just 60 food and 25 gold. Right. Remembering correctly, hopefully. You're gonna be seeing once one of them is actually gonna be made, and I can click on him. Oh, they're actually being made inside, so that's gonna be late. Not really just yet. He's waiting for a bit more units right now, which was potentially an opportunity here because of all of those extra militias being produced from the fortress, which is unfortunately right now died for Brickhead, and that means that eRo will be having probably another shot on actually assaulting the TC yet again, but the heavy infantry is already researched, as Brickhead will be attempting to get the champions as well, but it's gonna be quite expensive, as already he is having yet again problems with the gold because of attempting the wall, which didn't really finish for Brickhead, or rather for eRo in the end, as Brickhead did notice in time, but still the efficiency is kind of problematic for him, it seems like. But it's just a question of time before all of this is gone, and this is gonna be yet again plugged for Brickhead. Come on, plug this hole. Just do it. Just do it, but he's probably missing a bit of gold here and there. So yeah, this is gonna be a full assault. Full assault right now on the TC of Brickhead yet again, so that eRo can take it for himself back. As the heavy Hypaspis, yeah, the cost at 60 and 25, actually remember it correctly. Good me. Good me in there, but of course, this seems that it might be working for eRo. Especially if he can get a few catapults there. Yeah, the one and even a few more could be definitely quite a nice help, as right now plenty of gold has come for Brickhead. You can see right now it's 1600 gold, so he should be having the upgrade for the champion Hypaspis in no time, if he actually wants that. Yeah, he's already coming for that. But unfortunately, I don't exactly think that the TC is gonna be standing for much longer. For much longer. And this, yeah, with the addition of the second catapult, this TC is definitely a goner. So for the second time, Brickhead did have a chance of 4 versus 2 TCs, but the Egyptian yet again was able to actually overpower that, and it seems like that he might be having a chance or reclaiming it yet again. So this TC is dead. Champion infantry researched, so basically all the researches possible for Brickhead are dead, same as for eRo. But I'm still kinda interested if maybe he's gonna be returning back to the Doxotai, and if he has already researched Levy infantry for faster making of the units, of course, that's definitely useful. He's gonna be able to get onto Shafts of Plague for the Doxotai. But this is kinda interesting, because so far it seems that actually the Egyptian player doesn't have the upgrade for faster building, for faster making of units. I'm not missing anything here, right? They do have that as well. Right now it's already, yeah, well, they definitely do. So he's missing a Levy barracks and conscript barracks. That could be really going a long way for him. Because of course you mustn't forget that this is eRo's economy. He's having so many resources, he doesn't know anything, he doesn't know what to do with them at all. So he just can be basically spending his resources on anything he potentially wants. So it's just a wonder that he's not spending it on that. Because spamming the units a whole lot faster, that would be helping him quite a bit. Especially if he could be producing a few more military units somewhere there, or rather buildings somewhere there to produce units as well. Which is something that I'm missing from eRo for like quite a bit here. He's also rather always kind of trying to make, just like a Migros somewhere, a siege workshop. But he's not exactly making any kind of barracks. He's not really making barracks at all. Basically, what Brickhead is doing, is exactly correct, and what should be done. But eRo, well, if he kind of figures that out, then of course the game is gonna be quite changing around. I'm thinking, because yeah, the spam just would be maybe a bit too much for Brickhead to handle, but just a bit maybe right there. Anyway. Right now there's a bit of an interesting push right now from Brickhead. Not really that much of a push, just basically some kind of cleanup and making sure that he's not gonna be surprised, because eRo does have, he actually does have catapults ready in there, ready to be made. So that he could potentially abuse exactly this fortress, which was definitely an idea for him. Another Petro boss coming forward, as the TC is being at least kept down. Right now, even if Brickhead actually cannot keep it for himself, if he can keep it from his opponent, that's gonna be doing the same service. Because, of course, it's always gonna be an advantage for him, having the extra town center in there. As we are heading into 1 hour and 20th minute of this game. So another big goal is going to be attempted by eRo, but Brickhead definitely right now has the upper hand, and it seems like the Hypaspis are finally, when they are fully upgraded, they are the correct country unit. And when I was talking about it like about half an hour ago, when they were fighting unupgraded, that of course didn't really work at all. Again, it just wasn't working. When they had no upgrades whatsoever on them. But right now, fully upgraded, that's a whole lot different story. That's a whole different story, because the attack of 8, 137 hit points, and much more importantly, 52% melee armor. That's a huge deal. That's a very huge deal. You can even see that right now eRo is switching into Axemen that are right now unupgraded, because of course you need to upgrade each unit like in a different way, in its own upgrade. He's having only champion spearman. He didn't really invest into the Axemen, but with the economy of eRo, no problem. No problem whatsoever at this point. And well, with all the Petroboli being present here, I'm really thinking that Brickhead is already thinking that if he can keep this on, keep this TC off, it's gonna be a question of time before he is able to somehow push through the left as well in some kind of sneaky way. And basically surprise him, surprise the opponent on either the market or maybe on the basically both TCs at the same time. But well, oh, it seems there was a bit of an opening right now for eRo, and it definitely still is. Those Petroboli are definitely not safe. Yeah, right now he needs to hurry up with the tower or with the wall. Come on, another wall there, as soon as possible for Brickhead. Yep, it's already coming in here. And of course this protection is gonna be, well, for eRo, huge issue. A huge issue, because those Petroboli definitely do have enough range to keep the TC out of the opponent's hands. And that means that only towers could be at least making sure right now from eRo's side that this is not gonna be falling for Brickhead. In the meantime, of course, yet another Raiden attempting to kill the trade for the about X time in this game. Right now all the donkeys are gonna be just coming forward for the slaughter. But it's actually gonna be a slaughter, because there are plenty of stables still being present in the base of Brickhead, and he's definitely using them for all the production that he potentially can get. That means, yeah, this is gonna be fine. This is gonna be definitely fine. But Brickhead should be paying a whole lot more attention to actually plugging up the holes in the walls, because there are still plenty of them, and eRo is doing quite a good job of inconspicuously actually making new ones. He's very good at that the whole game. And if Brickhead maybe paid a bit more attention to that, he would be in a better position overall, because of course those are just dividing his attention in basically the crucial moments, and much more importantly, costing him quite a bit of advance opportunities once he could be getting them. But at the same time, right now he's having so much gold as he's finally efficient with the trade as he would like to be. You can see plenty of food. The wood is not exactly there. He could be definitely gathering a bit more, but he's also kind of running out of wood. So this is the kind of game when you are running out of wood on the map. This is something that happens in Age of Empires on water maps. And basically games go more than 1 hour, then you're running out of wood. And that's when basically the games get decided, because who runs out of wood first is not able to produce enough boats, because market can only get you so far. But yeah, well, here we might be seeing this exactly play out here as well, because you mustn't forget that even though eRo is having plenty of wood still, he's gonna be kind of slowly running out, I'm thinking. Even though he can sell like 8,000 food at this point for all the chariot archers, it's really kind of a problem for him, I'm thinking. And it might be becoming a bit bigger one than it actually might be seen. Polyphemus just basically grabbing that horse and the chariot and just throwing it away like nothing happened. Yeah, well, he is a pretty huge guy, of course. So, yeah. And right now he's died for exactly that. But unfortunately the wall is gone, because eRo was able to get there some catapults to exactly get rid of all of this. Which of course is probably gonna be some kind of opening for eRo. Some kind of opening finally yet again, as he is definitely right now pushing forward. And since he could deny this wall and to deny even the Petroboli, then I'm really thinking there's gonna be an opportunity to get the TC right now if he sends in enough villages. Because right now you can send all of those villages and nothing will happen. And right now you have 8,000 food. Like, you can even kill all of those and remake them, and you still won't be out of food at this point. So like, why not? Just take all of those villages and make a run for it. Is Sunus Red the 18th already at 4 hit points? Yeah, well, he's gonna be 19th, it seems like, before this game is over. Quite safely, I'm thinking. But the Petroboli are still there. And those fortresses, this is exactly very nicely played by Brickhead. And what is this? Oh, well, some kind of creative wall-in. This is a nice idea by Brickhead. He's basically trying to deny parts of the map to his opponent. Definitely not a bad idea. It's actually a very good one. Because the more you limit the opponent, the better, of course, maneuvering chances you have, and he hasn't, and he doesn't, so yeah, why not? This is a nice idea, because this is, of course, gonna be allowing him, well, if he can get rid of the mummy, though, otherwise he's gonna be killing all of those and making them into minions. He could be, like, placing Petroboli behind that and getting rid of the walls, and like that, basically moving forward inch by inch. So why not? Yeah, it's a good idea. Could be definitely working. As right now, basically, the denial of the TC is getting real for eRo. And I'm thinking that eRo should be getting a bit worried. Because the last denial of the TC, he was able to overcome fairly quickly. Fairly quickly at this point. And well, at this point it's really pretty difficult for him to handle, I'm thinking. Because what he can do, he's right now in heavy defensive, and you can see that whatever he does, so far Brickhead is able to somehow counter. Right now switching into eRo yet again. Why not? Why not? As he could be denied the big doll, and then quite soon of course the ballista towers as well, even though they might be also dying fairly quickly, but that depends how many spearmen we are gonna be seeing here. Not really enough barracks. Like, come on. One. Oh yeah, there. Okay. I was for a moment worried. That actually eRo somehow didn't have enough barracks, even though he could be having a whole lot more of them, of course. Yeah, well, still. We'll be waiting for that kind of unit. As yet again, there's a bit of an attempt at raid-in. Unfortunately, right now, those spearmen could have been used at the bottom against all those at eRo, but they are not really half bad here either, because of course all those horses that are gonna be made here are gonna be of course having a very hard time dealing with the problem. Apparently, Brickhead, is he gonna be making something out of the temple? Apparently not. Even though he does have the waypoint on the right side. But he's gonna be producing a few horses here and there. Apparently at eRo are made ready. They are made ready, and even towers really. So where are the villagers coming from though? Because this walling has been kinda third wave finished, as there is another right now importance put onto this battlefield by eRo, because he definitely recognized that this is something that he doesn't want to happen at all, as this is dangerously close to exactly this TC. As there is, oh, I hear some Petropolis somewhere. Oh yeah, Helepolis there. Okay, this is actually quite nice diversion by Brickhead, as he's coming through a different vantage point. Man, he's right now attacking from basically all sides. He's trying to deny the TC, trying to push forward on the big doll, on the siege works in there, and he's also coming forward through the middle. Even though he's not definitely gonna be killing the TC in there, he's gonna be maybe trying to deny the trade on the left side. Helepolis is of course definitely a problem in here, as those spearmen... Well... Oh! One hit point. Missing the last hit in that. So come on, the minion, kill this. Oh, no. Okay, one last hit. Didn't finish the attack animation in there, so it wasn't finished. As in the meantime, of course, eRo, yeah, these are exactly the towers that were meant to be built, but Brickhead is gonna be using even the villagers to do this, because he's definitely smelling blood at this point. He's smelling blood, and those villagers, yeah, just really fight it. Even against the spearmen in there, you are gonna be fine. Those at eRo are gonna be getting rid of the tower quite fine. So yeah, this is gonna be dealt with. As on the right, the situation is getting quite dangerous for eRo, because he has lost the Migdol, which was like one of the last defensive buildings in there. And the 40 TC is getting very close to being under some kind of danger. And Mummy Vizier, that's a name I haven't seen for so long. Mummy Vizier, that's a fun one. Yeah, better pierce attack, hit points, and longevity for the minions overall. Yeah, well, she's gonna be getting rid of this Zipaspis apparently. He's gonna be joining the ranks, and he's also upgraded. Oh, this is fun. Can you see this? How he's getting the extra shield from the Mummy Vizier, from the upgrade onto the Mummy. Oh, that's such a cool minion. I mean, such a nice large shield in the skeletal hand in there. That's so fun. That's something you don't really see often at all. Like really at all, as the market has been killed on the left side. And this is really looking like that at 1 minute 28 seconds, or rather 1 hour 28 minutes, sorry, missed there a few numbers. It's gonna be getting into some kind of maybe endgame, because right now eRo seems to be getting into a very dangerous position. He has lost the trade. He has been able right now to finally defend here, as that was all three. Actually using the special attack, it seems like, into the minions. So he does have some kind of idea to come there. But oh well, Brickhead is gonna be finishing in the meantime due to all the pushing in there. And oh, right now finally 4 TCs at this point. Well, that's a sneaky catapult on the fortress. which so far Brickhead hasn't noticed, it seems like. In that the problem has been solved. Villagers come in probably for the catapult, it seems, as the army is coming back onto the base right now of eRo. And there is, of course, right now gonna be an important battle next to the TC, because this is gonna be taking quite plenty of catapults forward for eRo, as we're looking for him. He's unfortunately almost housed. Almost housed, so he doesn't have enough. He doesn't even have siege bricks there. He's taking them from here all the way. So maybe he still does have some kind of chance, but the army is getting definitely stronger by Brickhead. Can see he's pushing in there, and much more importantly, the attack through the middle, and yeah, basically through the middle in there, is something that eRo is apparently unable to handle all that much. There's a Tyro yet again looking there, if potentially that's the trade. Yeah, just going there for nothing, but better safe than sorry. He's gonna be switching on to the TC, of course, right now. As there is a catapult finally firing on the fortified TC for the nth time in this game. As those mummies are actually a pretty big problem, because they are yet again basically stealing the units. And that's making quite a big problem for Brickhead to somehow even push forward. Yet again, tower being built by eRo with the tower, or rather with the wall, to protect the catapults behind it. Definitely a nice idea. But he right now has lost so much population limit, as Brickhead was doing the correct thing, and that was destroying houses. Just screw the TCs like that, only 20 population limit. But if you kill all the houses, which are significantly easier to kill, at only 585 hit points, you're gonna be so screwing up your opponent. You can see right now it's dropped at 86 hit points, or rather, not hit points, well, basically at this point, his population limit are his hit points. He is gonna be right now losing even the TC, and that's exactly the moment, exactly when the TC is coming down. Brickhead is gonna be winning the battle at 1 hour, 29 minutes, 47 seconds game time. Well, you asked for a game from recent time. There you go. And it was a bit longer one, but a definitely engaging battle between a Poseidon and an Isis. And there were so many interesting situations. So many interesting situations everywhere. Across the map. So many little plays that seemed like it could be deciding everything. They didn't. So those players, they just knew what they were doing the whole time. In the defense and in the attack, definitely nice pushes. And to be honest, to be completely honest, I thought that the player that should be winning this would be eRo. Because he was having like the most dangerous plays in there, into the markets, into the trades, into attack on this TC, pushing forward through there. He was able to even overtake this TC 2 times. He was 2 times fighting 2 TCs versus 4, and was able to get back at 3. But yeah, well, in the end, it just wasn't really... It wasn't meant to be for him. And this huge ghostly game is coming for Brickhead, and he's claiming the victory. And to be honest, it was due to no small part, that's what I was wanting to say, to those heteroids. I'm really thinking those dudes were the decision makers and the ones that decided this game. I really think so. That they really helped immensely. And the decision to go through the middle and a bit more through the left, but really the decision to go through the middle, that was what caught eRo off guard absolutely completely. But to be honest, that was something that eRo was doing like for most of the game. He was trying to push forward, trying to build somewhere there, the side build, go into the trade route. He was doing it the whole game. And Brickhead, well, as soon as Brickhead caught up, after about 1 hour and 20 minutes of game time, and he did it. That was what actually it took to switch the game into a mode that eRo just couldn't come back from, or rather was having problems to come back from. Maybe, I don't know if he could come back from it, but once Brickhead did that, it finally got out of hand for eRo, and Brickhead was able to finish. Well, that was not a bad game, was it? Quite a GG. Let's check the postgame then. We are gonna be seeing some absolutely ridiculous numbers here, of course. Even though in the end the score wasn't really that different. It was quite similar. Well, the game was definitely close. So not any kind of huge wonder. Not any kind of huge wonder at all. The amounts of resources here. 100,000 food for a Brickhead. 140,000 gold. For eRo. These are some ridiculous numbers, are completely ridiculous. And military, 1600 military count, 1400 units killed, 2000 units lost for eRo. This is interesting. So our mercenaries are probably not counting into the military count then. Because otherwise I cannot explain this difference. It just doesn't make sense otherwise. So yeah, that's gonna be definitely it. So if that is true, that means that he basically made 400 mercenaries in the game. Well, that's a kind of disgusting number by itself, isn't it? Yeah, I'm thinking, Azarath, that yeah, those minions exactly and mercenaries are not gonna be counted in the military count. But anyway, Brickhead at 1400 almost, killed 1800 and lost 1500. Well, he also lost plenty of villages, so I'm thinking the 100 plus are gonna be, well, villages, especially donkeys. They were dying very much in there. And for quite some interesting amounts and times. And buildings lost, that's actually quite an interesting number as well, but there are gonna be plenty of walls there, I'm thinking. 243 and 125. I'm not entirely certain how walls are actually counted. How they're actually counted. That's probably gonna be like, each segment is gonna be one building. Yeah, the Mantas, I know that actually normally units go there as well, but I don't think that eRo lost 400 civilians. He just didn't. He just didn't. If anybody lost more civilians, then it would be Brickhead. That's the difference in that, the 170. Those are civilians for Brickhead, but those 400, that's just too much. That have to be mercenaries, that I'm thinking. Or something completely unexpected. Well, upgrade times, normal. The same research count at the end, 55. Even though there were still some upgrades missing. For example, eRo was missing the levy for the faster making of units from barracks, for example. Brickhead was missing the last upgrade, the special upgrade for Artemis for the archers. So a few, wow, few upgrades are missing here and there. 48 mummies, and in the end, mummy viziers. Yeah, that's plenty of mummies. 623 spearmen, 545 hippicons. Well, and interesting graphs. Yeah, there, eRo was having so much better chances in there. He was keeping his opponent at a knife's edge. Just wasn't able to finish. He was just able to defend all the time, Brickhead. That was a dip. One hell of a dip. At 41 minutes. Yeah, this is a fun graph. Going up and down everywhere. Yeah, they were both actually being killed here. But this is interesting moment of the game. Where Red was losing like most of the army. Whereas Brickhead was, or rather, yeah, Brickhead was losing most of the army. Whereas eRo was having like triple, quadruple of that. So this is probably the moment. This is probably the moment where eRo was having the biggest chance to win, but somehow didn't manage to do it. After the Titans. This was probably the moment where he was having the chance. Let's just go through basically all of them, because this was a singular game. So it's quite a singular game. Buildings, well, falling down for eRo quite significantly, still rising for Brickhead. Slightly. Settlements, of course, yeah, that we have seen. This was the biggest crisis. This was one of the biggest crises for eRo, and he was still able to overcome that. He was at the 1 TC. Can you see that? He was at the 1 TC against 4. And he was able to come through that, because that was the moment where eRo completely annihilated Brickhead straight. And basically forced him to be like at 0 gold for a few minutes. At the most important time. That was a clutch one by eRo. Score pretty much the same all the time. Then here at about 1 hour 11 minutes, Brickhead was getting ahead. And all resources. Can you see this? How Brickhead was struggling at the bottom. Struggling at the bottom all the time, whereas eRo was absolutely swimming in resources. At this point, 21,000 resources at 1 hour 10. He was having so much extras that he just didn't know what to do with them. He could have probably just killed like his whole economy and completely storm his opponent with all that extra population limit and won. This is something that you need to understand that you can do. If you are having so many resources, you can basically do Ragnarok. That's basically akin to Ragnarok. You just basically delete your economy and you build the whole population limit of your army. And even if it starts going south, you can rebuild basically all the units, the same as after Ragnarok. You can just do Ragnarok at this point. That's another point where eRo could have actually won the game for him. If he was able to land another 100 population limit of army, like what would the Brickhead do at this point? He was struggling with that like for the majority of the game. Yeah, the food, the wood, the ridiculous amount of wood for eRo the whole game. Only at the end it started to fall off, but that was also at the time where actually wood legitimately started to run out on the map. So that's the reason why he was starting to fall off. And then, yeah, the trade was kinda getting over for him, or rather going over. Yeah, getting over, that was probably right. And that's when it started to get difficult. Overall, as the favorite, yeah, well, Brickhead was having a few points in there after he built a few mythical units, and then he kinda stopped as well. He maybe could have done a bit more with the mythical units, but against the mummies, it's kinda always difficult. But overall, the resources weren't really that different. You can see a bit more food for Brickhead. Oh, wood is gonna be a whole lot more for... I was thinking actually that it could have been a whole lot more for eRo, but in the end actually not. Brickhead was apparently then spending plenty of the Helipoli in there, and on the buildings especially. He was making a lot of buildings the whole time. So that's reasoning for the spending of the wood in there. And gold, whole lot better for eRo, but that's to be expected from an empowered trade, from an Egyptian. And favor total in the end even better for eRo also. Also goes to figure because of the monument's passive way of making favor. Okay, so that's that. This was one of the longest games that I have cast. I'm pretty certain about that. So I hope definitely that you enjoy that. That was really a GG, and congrats Brickhead on the win. And eRo, well, you definitely did have your chances, and I liked how you played in there. It was a worthy battle, and you were definitely at some places quite close to winning as well. So, GG.